It is your duty to insist upon still more radical measures. It is your business to see that no child is employed in an industrial establishment or mine or store, and that no worker unnecessarily comes to incident or disease. It is your business to make them give you clean cities, free from smoke and dirt and congestion. It is your business to make them pay you a living wage. Everyone has the right to be well-born, well-nourished, well-educated, and serviceable to this country at all times. For most people, the school textbook story of Hellen Keller, the 12-year-old deaf and blind girl who overcame expectations to learn to read and receive a solid education, ends right there. Right along with that inspiring story is a series of jokes about her double handicap, intended to poke fun at her disabilities. Have you ever wondered why those jokes even exist, or how we have any lasting knowledge of who Hellen Keller even is? The latter half of Hellen Keller's life has been somewhat erased from the popular culture, because the reason she has stood there so long is because during her life she was a political radical, famous public speaker, who stood up for the rights of women, child labor laws, and of course, the rights of the disabled. Please allow me to share some excerpts from some of her strongest moments. She fought back against those that attempted to belittle her at the Women's Peace Party in 1916. To begin with, I have a word to say to my good friends, the editors, and others who are moved to pity me. Some people are grieved because they imagine that I am in the hands of unscrupulous persons who would use me to espouse unpopular causes and make me the mouthpiece of their propaganda. Now let it be understood, once and for all, that I do not want their pity. I will not trade places with any of them, because I know what I am talking about. My sources of information are as good and as reliable as anybody else's. I have papers and magazines from England, France, Germany, and Austria that I can read myself. Let them remember, though, that if I cannot see the fire at the ends of their cigarettes, neither can they thread a needle in the dark. All I ask, gentlemen, is a fair field and no favor. It is to be a fight to the finish, and I ask no quarter. She fought for democracy and pacifism at Adelaide Town Hall in Australia. When you go out into the real world, you will find it a difficult one, and many responsibilities will be laid upon your shoulders. And among them is trying to understand other people's problems and their way of thinking. That is the path to sympathy and the building up of true citizenship. That is democracy, which is a way of living together and working together. And only when we foster real democracy can we banish the intolerance and misunderstanding that divide the world today. You will do immense good if you set yourselves this generous and broad work as your goal. And you will be happy to know that you are part of life's greatness. She fought hard for the rights of minorities at the Subcommittee on Labor in 1944. In my travels up and down the continent, I have seen their shabby school buildings and witnessed their pathetic struggle against want. I have been shocked by the meagerness of their education, the lack of proper medical care, and the discrimination that limits their employment chances. I feel it a disgrace that in this great, wealthy land of ours, such injustice should exist to men and women of a different race, and blind at that. It is imperative that colored people without sight be granted financial aid worthy of their human dignity and fearful courage in the face of fearful obstacles. And finally, she fought for the rights of the blind and the deaf at Perkins School for the Blind in 1956. As you know, they are treated as if they are castaways from mankind, fit only to be fed and sheltered until they die. But civilization and justice demand that the exiles of the silent night who are teachable be rescued from soul-destroying isolation and morbid tendencies. every enlargement of their circle of intelligent sympathy will mean wider opportunity to minister to children, and adults too, and turn their dungeon into a kingdom of light. Hellen Keller, Rebel.